Hey everyone, I'm Danni Pomplun.
And I'm Rocky Heron.
And welcome to
Dharma Dudes.
Dude. Dharma.
Dharma Dudes. Nailed it.
Welcome to the show. This is our very, very, very first episode. And we're super excited. And right?
I'm excited. You can speak for me in that way.
Okay. Well, I guess without further ado, here goes the show.
Dharma Dudes.
Rocky.
Danny?
I feel like I sweat all the time because I'm always running from class to class.
No, nobody thinks that about you. We don't say that about you. We're just like, Danny must have just taken a nice swim. He's really active.
Yeah, that's totally what it is. Just so fit all the time fitness.
All the time fitness.
All the time fitness. No, but so what I end up doing is I end up carrying like extra pairs of clothes with me in my bag. And recently I've been using Om apparel. And they've got some really cool stuff. So they have these pants called, get this, Dharma pants.
I love that.
Do you get it? Because we're Dharma Dudes.
Wait. Oh, that's the name of the episode, of the podcast.
Right.
That's us.
Right. Yeah, that's us. But they're really, really, really extremely comfortable. And the other thing that I love about this company is all their stuff is super eco-friendly.
So it works out for you and the planet? Sign me up.
The planet. Yeah. And guess what? If our listeners type in the code Danny, they get 10% off their order.
What? How's Om Apparel going to make how are they going to make a profitable business if they're basically giving their stuff away like this?
I mean, it's for the planet.
Hey, they're doing their Dharma Dude.
Oh, really? Their stuff is amazing. It's the only stuff that I've been wearing recently. I feel like their clothes is just I feel like it's made for like my body, and I feel like it's even their like normal everyday pants that I wear. They have some other ones called the Voyager that I wear, the joggers, and they're just super like they're cozy biking, they're cozy walking to the studio and back, like kind of in the in between. Their stuff is super fire.
Well, what I know for sure, Danny, is that you're worth it, that I'm worth it, and that our listeners are worth it. So if they know what they're worth, they'll be typing in that promo code Danny and getting themselves some Dharma pants from Om Apparel.
I agree. We'll leave all that information down in the show notes, and we'll also leave a little link so y'all can get a super fat discount on this super comfortable clothing.
PHAT. Super fat.
Hey, Rocky, what are you doing for New Year's?
Oh, I don't know. I was maybe just going to go have some champagne and set some resolutions I won't keep. You?
I mean, I was going to think about going to Mexico with, I don't know, you?
Oh my God, I could totally do that. The other plans, I told my friends I would do that resolution thing, but I would love to go to Mexico with you.
I feel like we should, no, we're going to Mexico.
Okay, where?
We're going to Todos Santos, Mexico, which is the southern tip of Baja. And Rocky, what are we going to do there?
I don't know. I really love your company, but it would be cool if we could bring a whole bunch of people with us just in case, we get tired of each other.
I think that's a great idea. And I think that we should do some yoga. And I think that we should do some goal setting and some New Year's resolutions that we're actually going to stick with. And I think that we know some really cool deity that might be able to help us with this.
We're talking about Ganesh.
Come on, Ganesh, realness.
Come on, Ganapati. Come on, obstacles. Come on, remover.
Seriously, though, huh? Come through.
Come through for yourself and invite Ganesh to come through for you. So we'll spend 5 days in Mexico, as you said, setting intentions, but the kind of intentions that stick. So
yeah, for sure. And we have, I think half of the spots are sold right now. So, and we haven't really, this is our first announcement on it. So I think we only have half of it left. But if y'all want to sign up for the retreat, you can sign up down in the show notes. There's a link to Rocky's website. There's a link to my website. And then there's a link to our booking website. But we're going to spend 5 days in Mexico. The food is amazing. The venue is awesome. And we are just going to, I'd say bring in New Year's in a new light, in a new way, and spend some time cultivating some community and really nurturing ourselves.
Storytelling, asana, pranayama, meditation, adventure, chips and salsa, beach, pool, laughter. What more do you need to know?
Sign me up.
See you guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Rocky, this is our very first episode.
I feel so new. I feel fresh. I feel full of possibility. Feels like spring.
Yeah. Wait, it is spring.
I love that we planned our first episode to coordinate with spring.
I feel like we really dialed. I felt like I got a download, from like the universe. I was like, we should do it during spring.
I started to get the download and then it was buffering for a long time. And then I was like, I need to change. I need to go in the other room. So I changed. I went back and forth like for a while. Then I like called Spectrum and I was like, anyway, I got the download too. Thank you, universe. Sometimes life makes you buffer for a minute, but
oh my gosh.
I feel like we're tone setting really well.
We're doing really well. So for those of you tuning in, welcome to our very first episode of Dharma Dudes. We're so excited.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. Thank you for, Rocky, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for thanking me for tuning in. No one ever does that. So thank you.
This train is quickly going to be derailed.
Oh yeah. No, if our listeners are not familiar with the concept of a bit train, then let me tell you, train is at the station, all aboard. We're just going to drive these bits into the ground.
Chugga, chugga, clunk, 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 clunk.
Yeah,
chugga, chugga, clunk, 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 clunk.
Hashtag chugga, chugga, clunk, clunk, clunk is trending right now. That was the download I got. So I'm glad you got it too.
I love it. I love a couple things. I love that we, first, I love that I say a couple things all the time.
I was going to say, I love that you only love a couple things, but I guess
always, every single time. I love that we decided to just start to create this other area where we get to talk about all things that we want to, but two, like specifically, getting into Dharma today and what it means to you and what it means to me and how,
Right. Well, it occurred to me that we're calling this Dharma Dudes, so we should either use the first episode to define Dharma, or we could talk about the concept of dudes, which I know you and I probably have a lot of. Well, we are dudes, I think.
I have no experience with dudes.
I know a couple.
I have
of dudes.
more experience with bro dudes, but not just dudes.
I mean, we could change this podcast to Dharma Bro Dudes if that feels more in your wheelhouse of expertise.
What about Dharma Bro Dude Bro Guy?
I like that as a working, like for us behind the scenes, but I feel like the listeners, that would be asking a lot of them, I think.
Okay. Well, we can just, let's simplify
it. We're not married to any of it.
let's talk about Dharma.
Okay. So, well, I guess I would ask for the listener to, this is the teacher in me coming out. Disclaimer, I'm a yoga teacher and a yoga teacher trainer, so I often assume that position, even when not asked.
I have what do you call that? Like when you like have to say something and no one knows and it's like, it's not a secret, but it's like, reveal. There we go. That's what it is. I have a reveal as well. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I too am a yoga teacher and
that's where I know you from. Okay. Yeah. I get it now. I was like, you look so familiar.
Yeah. It's. I know it's.
Oh,
rough,
it makes sense. That's why it's Danni Pomplun Yoga.
Right. No. I just like the word yoga. I didn't actually. It wasn't actually. I just. Yeah. Like Danni Pomplun.
Well, it would be a fun game for the listener. Like, we shouldn't make it a drinking game because, like, that's maybe like you take a shot of kombucha or something every time we allude to the topic we're going to talk about today, and then derail into a bit that's not related. And then, like, by the end of the episode, everyone's gonna be drunk off kombucha and probably will have not learned anything.
But at least they'll be like really, like probiotic-y and like healthy and like that's a fun game.
Oh my god! If the result of this podcast is that the byproduct is that the world's collective guts are more populated with healthy bacteria, I feel like I've done my job.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I think so too.
Dharma.
Dharma.
What does Dharma mean?
All right. So I have two definitions just so that we know what the dictionary says. All right.
Okay.
So
Which dictionary?
Dharma, Google.
Okay. .com.
The Google dictionary? Is there another dictionary?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that Google is Webster's internet pen name, so that's perfect. I don't know. Continue.
Okay. So Dharma, a noun. In Indian religion, the eternal and inherent nature of reality, regarded in Hinduism as cosmic law underlying right behavior and social order. Okay. In Buddhism, the nature of reality regarded as the universal truth taught by the Buddha, the teachings of Buddhism. And then there's a bonus, an aspect of truth or reality.
Just an aspect?
That's what it says. An aspect of truth or reality.
So by those definitions, Dharma can refer to law in the macrocosmic sense, cosmic law, natural law, individual sort of ethical agreements, law, societal law, or that'd be more Hindu interpretation, or Buddhist is that it's the law as defined by the Buddha, or the teachings, which maybe aren't law, but are capital T truth.
Right. It's like, yeah, it's like your, it's almost like you're like a duty, I think.
Well, so then so duty could be, when I hear duty, I hear obligation. Like to be dutiful is to fulfill your obligations, which sounds like choice, like the choice to fulfill your duty. But if it's cosmic law or natural law, then you kind of don't have a choice. It's just the way it is. So we say an aspect of reality. Well, that would kind of like, I like that translation because it accounts for the fact that everything subscribes or ascribes to law in one way or another.
Do you feel, Rocky, like you personally have found your Dharma this lifetime?
Well, may I offer my translation of Dharma?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, actually, let's do that. Actually, let me hear what you have to say.
Oh, I like that. I feel so heard.
Wait, let me see you too. Okay, got it.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
Want to talk about Dharma, girl?
Well, welcome to Dharma Dude, girl. Rocky and I started this weird language before we started recording, and we were thinking about not subjecting you guys to it, but we did.
Yep, that's kind of how I operate in most of my relationships. I'm like, I think I'm going to not subject this person to this aspect of myself, and then exactly 10 seconds into the relationship, they're fully subjected. So
what does Dharma mean?
I feel so intimate with our listeners already. They're getting a dose. Well, I agree with it's not that I disagree with anyone's interpretation of it, but all of those interpretations feel kind of well-rounded and encompass the full extent of what I understand Dharma to mean. At least in terms of its Hindu origins, or it being a Sanskrit word, the verbal root, it is a noun, but the verbal root in Dharma is a verb. It's the verb drsh, should be D-H-R. And that verb, my understanding of drsh is that it translates to make firm or to solidify, or on a softer side, to nurture or to sustain. So it's not that Dharma is a verb. It's as you said, it's a noun. So it's the state of sustenance, or the quality something has after it's been made firm or been solidified. So the idea of finding one's Dharma would be, to me, there's a process. There's the verbal part of that, like what you do to solidify who you are, or what you believe, or what ethics guide your life, what choices you make, essentially. And then there's the result of who you are through that process, right? So it's like, even like with yoga, is yoga the state that you are in when you leave a great yoga class? like
Right.
coming out of Shavasana, or is yoga everything that you did to get to that state? Or is it both? Or is it just an aspect of reality?
Right. I personally feel like it's both. I feel like it's both the outcome, but also the work into the outcome. Does that make sense?
Totally. Well, it's the goal itself and the pursuit of the goal, and then also it's like how do you determine when something starts? Like do you start? Does your yoga practice start when you take a seat on your mat, or did your yoga practice start when you selected which part of the room you were going to be in and unrolled your mat and put the props there, or did it start when you decided to go and you got in your car? So the process of finding your Dharma, like I would say, there have been many moments in my life where I didn't feel like I was on my path or I hadn't found my Dharma, but I recognized that in those moments, things were happening that were a part of me, like catalyzing me onto my path. So it's almost like there's sort of the double negative of everything. Like you're never you've never lost your Dharma, so you never can find it. But life is so tricky that way that you kind of have to go on a particular journey or path to circle back around to the beginning and realize like, oh, the journey is the destination, and I'm going to be perpetually finding myself and finding my Dharma. And maybe that means I found something because I found that truth.
So when someone, well, actually, let's go back to, okay.
Well, hey,
that being said,
what about you?
what do I think?
Interviewing me that I'm like, just bring on these questions. What about you?
I know, that's true. I forget. I'm so, I mean,
we got new Dharma now, dude.
I know, dude. We got to do Dharma now, dude.
Yeah, come on, bro, dude.
I think for me, it's like, I just go back to like the moral, it's like my moral duty of what I have to do this lifetime. It's like what I'm supposed to, I love what you said earlier, the definition, like what cosmically I am here to do, what journey I am here to fulfill. Does that resonate or make sense at all?
Sure. I mean, I think
it's
like the idea of finding your purpose does kind of assume that a purpose has been assigned to you. And so like there's sort of a quest to find this concealed thing or to reveal this thing.
Right.
So the question I would have to you or to anyone is like, do you believe that, or do you believe that you are in the process of defining that?
I kind of almost feel like, I mean, obviously I believe it. Yes. And I feel like you've read The Alchemist. Yeah.
It's one of the, yes, but continue.
There's the one part in The Alchemist where he talks about his life's purpose, like his life's work and what he's supposed to do. Right. And that's what I relate it to. Obviously, I'm a yoga teacher and this is what I do and this is what I love. And for me, I feel that yoga helps me accomplish, it's like a conduit to my Dharma.
Sure.
Yoga helps me change and support people in their journeys. And that's what I feel like, I feel like my purpose this lifetime, like my Dharma, what I'm supposed to be here to do is to help people and support people and support them in their growth. Like I honestly believe that that's what I'm here to do. And yoga for me is the thing that helps me get that done.
Yeah. So I vibe with that like, I think the tendency when we think about our purpose, or someone's like, I'm trying to find my purpose, I think the tendency is to assume that that's a specific vocation, or that it's going to look like a particular thing. Sure. And so what I as with most things that I think, I kind of embrace the paradox of it being both. Right. I think that, or what feels resonant to me, is that our purpose is more broad and more general and more shared amongst all of us. Like I would suggest that probably everybody's Dharma is to help each other and support each other and uplift each other and inspire each other and entertain each other to some degree or another. You might inspire by entertaining, you might uplift through provocation. Like there might be a lot of different ways that you fulfill that Dharma. And And I think to a certain extent, like what we're looking for is what's the avenue that's going to provide me the greatest sense of fulfillment, or that's going to make best use of my cultivated and more natural gifts and talents, so that we can all fulfill our dharma in diverse ways. So the idea, like, I'm a singer and a musician, and it's really hard. Like, that's the one area for me where, yes, I spent a lot of time cultivating, my abilities as a musician, but there's a lot of it that I can't really attribute to training. There's people that have something and people that don't have that thing kind of coming in. Like, look at, like Whitney Houston, like, like the voice that she had, it was like, clearly she was meant to sing. It's not that she like was, there's the nature nurture thing. Like, her mom was a singer. She grew up like singing in churches, and then from a whole musical family, her auntie, or I think it was Aretha Franklin. I'm sorry if that's not exactly accurate. I don't have Twitter, so no one can come after me on Twitter.
We're coming after you.
I watched The View. Disclaimer. I had no idea that was going to come up in this episode. I watch The View every day, and Whoopi Goldberg is always saying, like, "Don't come after me on Twitter. I don't care. I'm going to say what I think." So there. I'm gonna play that card. What was I saying?
Rocky is the issue. That's the hashtag. Rocky is the issue.
Yeah, hashtag Rocky Rambles is trending on Twitter, but I don't have it, so how would I know? Some people are innately born with gifts, or so it would seem. My father was a musician. My mom was attracted to my father because he was a musician. My mom, in many ways, it feels as though I am alive because of music, and so that is sort of folded into my dharma. Now, how I use that to fulfill a deeper sense of dharma, which is to likewise uplift, inspire, and help catalyze positive change on the planet. I guess that's really where my considerations are.
Well, and also, just so that that's my thing. I already said that. So,
I'm sorry. We'll do like a bibliography after the episode where we can put asterisks next to everything that I say that belongs to someone else.
Right. Because that was my, like, I just, that was my thing. I kind of said that already. And so I just want to be really
just so you know, that my thing is actually like telling other people that their thing is my thing. So you're kind of doing my thing right now. But that's fine. It's fine.
It's,
okay. You know what? Do your Dharma, dude. Do your Dharma, dude.
I agree with you. I think some, there are these innate gifts that you're born with, or, and whether it's like a voice or a way of holding space for people or whatever it is, I think that's a huge part of it.
Can I read you something?
Sure.
And because it's not just us having this conversation, listeners, may I read you something?
Yes, you can.
Oh, so we have a couple of listeners. Hi guys.
It was actually, we just have one.
Yeah. Oh, that was just one person.
Yeah.
Well, hey bud, who's that?
Hello.
Oh, you sound, well, thanks for tuning in. What's your name? Danny, don't laugh at our one listener.
Oh, sorry.
We have one listener and you're going to laugh him out of the studio?
He actually just left. He slammed the door. He's pissed.
Yeah, thank you for editing out the door slamming.
He's coming after you. He's coming after you.
Well, I think I'm going to get a Twitter account just so he can come after me. I want more information about, like, how old are you? Is that voice does that voice help you or hinder you in life? Is that your dharma?
He's just living his dharma. Okay, leave me alone.
Yeah, living my best dharma. Okay, this is a quote from Dr. Douglas Brooks, who I've learned quite a tremendous amount from in terms of yoga
He's
philosophy.
insane. He's awesome. He's awesome.
Did you say he's insane?
Like insanely awesome.
Oh yeah. He's insanely insane and awesome and awesomely insane and brilliant.
All the things.
And this is from his book Poise for Grace, which is his interpretation, his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita from a tantric perspective. It's a hard book to find, but if you can find it, it's worth a read. So he says, Dharma is filled with complementary and even contrary meanings. Its many nuances will be brought out in usage and context, but throughout the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, it is the principle that establishes the foundations and support of all facets of reality, or aspects of reality. Dharma is not only a natural category, but also a cultural and social one. It suggests the true potential of society to flourish through the establishment of justice, value, and prosperity. Dharma is principled with argument, law, and the deep feeling that the world has spiritual value. Without Dharma, we are doomed, and with it, we are held to rigorous accounts. So I like, you mentioned the word duty, and duty can be something that's ascribed to you, or duty can be something that you inherently sense. And I think that, maybe not all of us, but because I can't speak for everybody, but I have a very real and profound sense within me that my life has meaning, and that I am here for a reason. Now, that reason could just be to have fun, and I'm making too much of a big deal out of everything. Or the reason could be to create something or to uplift, but it doesn't feel that my existence is sort of a casual thing. I'm aware of how unlikely it is that I'm even alive. Like, all of my ancestors survived and procreated. Like, who knows how many sperm were competing for that egg. Like, I made it. I'm here.
Right.
So, haha, that's what I said to all the odds and sperm.
I showed you.
Yeah. You're like, you can talk. You're a baby.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I can. And I have the voice of a pirate.
As a baby.
Yeah, also a baby. Let me remind you. But it's that sort of that inner sense that I have that becomes sort of a guiding force in my life. Like, when I'm acting as if my life doesn't have meaning, when I'm undervaluing myself, when I'm not making choices that lead towards a higher potential, I feel it. I feel that sense of being kind of off target. And so, again, I don't know that your path or your dharma or your purpose is something you land on, that you acquire, and then you're there forever. But I think if you have that felt sense, I guess, as Douglas said, like, the deep feeling that the world has spiritual value, and likewise you as a part of the world has spiritual value, then that sets you on a quest to fulfill that value and to find it and to work with those forces at play.
Do you feel like you found your dharma this lifetime?
Yes and no. I think that because again, like, that suggests that I think it's a static thing to find. I think that I've found this. I have found dharma. I have found practices that help to keep me steady and stable and focused and keen and progressing. And I've also found plenty of practices that don't. And so part of me finding my dharma is just like navigating all that. Like, do you think that it's something that you have found and now you have it? Or do you think it's something that you find and lose moment to moment?
I mean, I think that it changes and shifts, right? I think that I wouldn't say, well, maybe it is moment to moment. I think that overall there is this purpose, right? That I'm doing here. Like, my dharma is this purpose, and I also think that there are other limbs, or I guess other areas of karma in that dharma that work hand in hand together. Does that make sense? Kind of. Like, there are other things that are happening that influence what I'm doing.
Sure, it's a moving target.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a moving target.
It also changes. Yeah. Like, my dharma when I'm at home with my roommate is different than my dharma when I'm in a teacher training. My dharma when I'm traveling is different than my dharma when I'm not traveling. Like, the things that I do to sustain and nurture the path that I'm on have to be relevant to what's happening in that moment. Like, it has to be informed by what my intentions are in that moment. There's this, I think I got this idea from Abraham Hicks. Have you ever read any of their stuff?
I have not.
The teachings of Abraham. It's a woman who channels this entity or this host of wisdom, and they write books and do seminars and different things. The Secret. You see the Secret DVD back?
Oh yeah.
I think like their information was supposedly like the kind of source material for a lot of that stuff. But
Got it.
They have this. I've heard them speak about the process of segment intending, which is to say, like, we have our intentions. Like, what are your intentions right now? You might think, oh, my intentions are to make X amount of dollars per month, or my intentions is to find, my soulmate this year, or you might have those bigger intentions. But then like, we also have the intention right now to record this podcast. And I think there are like the bigger goals that we have in our life. And then there are the segment goals that we have. Like, my goals are to, like, if I'm getting in a car, my goal is to arrive safely in the shortest amount of time to my destination.
Right.
And the notion of Dharma, at least as it's spoken about in the Gita, like Cliff Notes version of the Gita is like Arjuna has to go to battle and he kind of doubts that is the right thing to do. He has a crisis moment. So his charioteer, conveniently Lord Krishna, offers him this big conversation on Dharma. And what that might look like. And the idea that his Dharma in that moment is to go to battle. Like, he is a warrior on the battlefield. The intention is to fight skillfully. Right. And the idea, like, if you really want to do your Dharma, if you want to find your Dharma, do whatever is in front of you with the most skill possible. And you'll find it. You'll find it because you'll be doing it. So like, again, this isn't Dharma in terms of like universal or cosmic law, but the way that we, like, all these concepts are fine and good, but then how do you actually apply them? It's like, well, what are you doing right now? Do that as best you can. Right.
What about I just popped into my head because you're talking about the Gita. What do you think would happen if someone doesn't fulfill their Dharma? Like, what if someone knows that,
well, it's kind of like it's the idea that, like, you're either punished for your sins or you're punished by your sins. Like, to not, like, that's sort of a karma question. Like, what's the consequence? Karma being kind of the residual effects of your causes, like cause and effect, consequence. So what is the consequence of doing your Dharma? What is the consequence of not, quote unquote, doing your Dharma? And I mean, I don't know, like, there's like, what happens are you resurrected? Is there like an afterlife? Do you go to hell? Or is it just, it doesn't feel good to be off the path? Like, if you don't do your Dharma, then you have another opportunity to do it in the next moment. Like, I think the sum total of being kind of off the mark is that you kind of lived a life that didn't feel very good.
Yeah. And I think that, again, I think it changes your karma. I think it adds it changes your karma because you're not following through on the path. So that then, I don't want to say stacks against you, but stacks against you.
Yeah. I mean, everything is, well, with these kind of terms, it's like asking someone like, what's the best way to practice yoga? It's like, well, first let's define what yoga is, because when you ask the question, you might have a different assumption of what yoga is than I do.
Right.
So I could tell you, the best way I think, but I don't know what your goals are. I don't know what your definitions are. So when I hear Dharma and karma relative to what we're talking about, like, if we're talking about like the karma of the universe, then we're talking about like the Big Bang and like everything that happened, the consequences of that. If we're talking about Dharma of the universe, then we're talking about like theories of relativity and, attraction and expansion and destruction and creation. Like, we're talking about like physics. If we're talking about our individual Dharma and finding it or losing it, then I feel like what we're talking, or karma for that matter, is we're talking about like choices and consequences. You know, it's like or skill and carelessness. You know, it's like what's the consequences of not acting skillfully? It's like, well, you have careless causes, you'll have kind of sloppy effects. And you know, it also says in the Gita, it's better to do your own dharma it's better to do one's dharma poorly than another's dharma really well. And to me, that speaks more to fulfillment. It's like it's like when I look at the Gita, it's all sort of these practices about like just do the work, like do what's in front of you, do the work, and it can feel a little cold. It can feel like, wow, yoga doesn't really want me to have what I want. Like yoga doesn't, whoever yoga is, the yoga system wants me to like not have desire, or it wants me to just like, you know, be kind of austere and like and disciplined. But I feel like yoga really does want you to have what you want. It just recognizes that you don't get there by struggling after it, or by doubting everything you're doing, or by doing things only so that you can get the result. It's saying like, trust a little more. The universe knows what you want. Just do what is in front of you really well. And and the path will unfold for you. And that's, I think, for me and yoga, and I would assume for you too. Really, everyone I talk to, I don't really know anyone that's like, when I grew up, I'm going to be a yoga teacher. I mean, maybe now, but like, you know,
yeah,
like
totally.
your dad, you know, if like you have a parent that's a yoga teacher. But I think most of us kind of just live the life that's in front of us, and at some point decide to show up a little more fully, or maybe something happens that alerts us to the fact that we need to. And we kind of find this path or something like it. And then it's like, oh, I found my dharma. But that's why I say, were you not finding it before you found it? Like everything that led you to this moment kind of got you here? Because if you don't, if you can find something that implies that before it was lost, and before you found it, it wasn't there, you know?
Yeah, I understand.
So it's like it's cultivated, totally, and it's also inherent. It's like I was just having a conversation with my friend about like so much of the stuff we do in yoga are things that we're doing all the time. You know, we're always paying attention to something. We're always breathing. We're always moving in some way, even if it's just breathing. So when we do yoga and we breathe on purpose, we move mindfully, and we apply our attention deliberately. In the same way, I think we always have dharma. It's just there are things that we do that bring it more to the forefront, and things that we do that kind of conceal it.
I love that we're just going to drop that for everyone. Good luck.
Is that bye?
No, not at all. But it's a lot.
Oh, sorry. God. What about you?
I mean, even
what do you think, Dave? I'm a good listener too.
I'm just sitting here crying, like, everything I thought I knew.
I mean, the disclaimer of everything I say is like, I think. I mean, that makes sense to me, but I think I could change tomorrow.
I mean, it totally. Yeah, I agree on that too. It makes me think a lot. It makes me ponder about my definition for it, and where that's gotten me so far. And now that I've learned more of that, how that's changed, and where that's going to change. And I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot to unpack in that.
Well, cool. I mean, cool to have like stimulating conversation that leads to more questions. I think that's
I mean, I wouldn't say it was a stimulating conversation, but
thank you for reflecting that back to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a conversation.
I think we could all agree that what's happening is a conversation. Is that safe?
It's definitely that.
Well, here's what I'll ask you. What? No, I will ask you something. Co-host of mine.
Yes.
What would you say are the things that you do to help you find your dharma? If you have found your dharma, what helped you find it? And what was it you found?
I'm a big fan of journaling, as most people know. If you're around me, you know that I love to journal, and that it's a big part of my life. And
sorry for the noise. And
I also,
by the way, my roommate is doing the dishes, which I love.
oh, it's a live podcast. This is how it happens
it's like
sometimes.
it's so complex. It's like I hate the noise, but I love what's causing it. So,
right, exactly. I think like I'm a big journaler, and there have been big moments in my life where journaling has actually brought out a ton. Like a lot of just that experience to have self-reflection. To get the thoughts out of my head and onto paper, to contemplate. That's really what I think personally has really helped me get this far, and to help solidify the things that I'm doing and why I'm doing them, and so on and so forth. The probably journaling and having a consistent practice. I think I would say, journaling and having practice. Like that time, like just my sadhana practice, actually, I should say. So the time that I spend to sit, to meditate, to breathe, to move, and to feel, and then I normally reflect on all of that at the end. That has gotten me closer to my purpose more than anything else.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what you were saying before, that like Dharma can be both the thing and the thing that you do to get to the thing. So like, I think our asana practice, all of our practices, essentially, like our practice itself isn't our Dharma, conceivably. Like, is your Dharma to do yoga, or is yoga what you do to find your Dharma? And I think that's why I when people say it clearly, it was like, it's your Dharma, or you found your purpose in teaching yoga. And when I hear that, I often think like, that doesn't feel like my Dharma. Like, it doesn't feel like my Dharma is yoga. It feels like my Dharma is to teach. And I'm really interested in yoga, and I also want to uplift, and yoga seems to uplift and inspire people. So I found my Dharma, and yoga is sort of the method, the means, the avenues, or the outlet that I've used to be able to facilitate that. And then, it's also why, as I continue to grow and develop in all the ways that I do, I feel less attached. Truth, this might be like full disclosure on the podcast, but I feel less attached to the notion of teaching yoga, because I realize that my Dharma is bigger than yoga. Yoga has just been the tool that I've used to fulfill my Dharma, both personally and as a teacher over these years.
Right.
Does that sound awful? Do I need to make it stop? Okay.
No, I think that's fine. It's totally.
It's just the
fine.
sounds of roommate Dharma. Like, we have my roommate and I have Dharma. It's like there's the Dharma of. I can only imagine. I don't have a big family. I never did, and I see like my friends, teachers that teach all day long, and then they go home to families, and it's like the Dharma of being a dad, the Dharma of being a householder is such a different Dharma than the Dharma of
dishes in the background.
Yeah, anyway, that was a tangent, but like the agreements, like the things that make my relationship firm with my roommate are that, like, whenever there's dishes in the sink, we put them in the dishwasher, and if the dishes in the dishwasher are dirty, we empty the dishwasher instead of just putting more dishes in the sink. So, that had to be something that we made explicit so that we were both on the same page, so that if one of us doesn't do that, then we can be like, hey, do your Dharma, dude.
Rocky, I love you.
Oh my God. That's so funny, Danny, because I love you too. Isn't that crazy?
On that note, I feel like we should thank our listeners now.
Oh no, like, honestly, you guys, if you made it to minute 40 of this,
you done
real good.
I think that's a wrap for today. Yeah, Rocky, we're good. Great.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Well, yeah. Thank you, everyone. Until the next Dharma Dudes.
Should we mention? Should we mention real quick that, like, if there are requests for topics to discuss over the next coming episodes, feel free to hit us up and let us know.
first go after Rocky on Twitter, and then send me a nice message and be like, hey, I'd love for you guys to talk about this.
Interrogate me on a platform I don't have. I dare you.
Yeah, if y'all have a request, send it in and we'll definitely talk about it. We can talk about anything on the show, which is the perfect part of it.
Cool. All right. Peace out, y'all. Namaste.
Peace out, y'all.